To induce schizophrenia-like symptoms in a patient or victim is to inject them with Haldol and Ativan, usually with a Benadryl kicker. Serious side effects that have been reported with Ativan include loss of memory. Somebody who's trying to turn in a police officer should not be taken to a hospital to be injected with loss of memory. Low blood pressure. Somebody who has been assaulted by police officers should not be injected with low blood pressure. Let's go to the next one down. Unexpected reactions such as anxiety, which is unexpected because Ativan is used to treat this condition. Now, there is a reason that I told every single hospital specifically, don't put Ativan in me, do not put Haldol in me. It is a bad idea. But this is what cops wanted. This is what the officers wanted in Scotts Bluff when I tried to turn them in. This is what the officers wanted in Chapel, Nebraska when I tried to turn them in. This is what the officers wanted in Boulder when I tried to turn them in. This is what the officers wanted. This is what the officers wanted. This is what the officers wanted in South Dakota. They wanted me to be injected with drugs rather than be heard. You pretend that my PTSD traits, which are from signs of long-term trauma and abuse, you pretend that that's schizophrenia. The problem is, if you put those schizophrenia drugs in the wrong person, it hurts them. And to just automatically assume that somebody is schizophrenic because they told on a bad cop is not okay. Now, of course, we have this issue right now with, well, who's the most likely person to commit filicide? Your parents. Matter of fact, nearly every major crime against children, the most likely person to commit it, overwhelmingly, is one of the parents. Of course, they point out strangers and say stranger danger. All right, so what we're looking at here, this one, it says serious side effects that have been recorded with Ativan include visual hallucinations, that's seeing things such as people or objects that aren't really there, or respiratory depression, and I do end up with that. The thing is, these are not things that a person should be injected with. And you sure shouldn't pretend that somebody is schizophrenic after you have injected them with those things. You certainly shouldn't be serving them with protective orders that magically disappear before the person can read them. I had to ask about them because it was a weird dream. That's right, I was taken to a hospital for trying to turn in cops. Injected with drugs for trying to turn in evidence against the Bollingers and cops. Including Officer Waylon Lolatai. You might be familiar with that guy. Matter of fact, we'll look his name up. Officer Waylon Lolatai. I forgot they type it weird, so it didn't come out. All right, this guy right here. Yeah, Lolatai assaulted me in Boulder, Colorado over the death of Natalie Bollinger. For them to find out that she was killed by someone else. City of Boulder paying $95,000 to settle a lawsuit against officer. Boulder to settle lawsuit by black man arrested. Oh, there's Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. He's a douchebag, just so you know. I've met him too. Here's one, safe Boulder, but I've called them and they didn't care about me. This is Waylon Lolatai. Here's more about Waylon Lolatai. He wanted abuse by Sammy Leon Lawrence IV to be dropped, but Sammy Leon Lawrence IV didn't do anything wrong. Waylon Lolatai did. He's darker than Sammy Leon Lawrence IV, who said that it was a racially motivated crime. There's Michelle Clark, another one of his victims. Yeah, I actually know her. And, of course, over and over again. All this stuff. What happened to Zaid Atkinson? Yeah. They paid him $125,000. These are some pretty big cases, pretty big situations. Yep. He doesn't believe Officer Lolatai did anything wrong, but you know what? Here it is, all this stuff, over and over again. This officer who assaulted me, that you pretend that I'm making it up. You pretend I'm schizophrenic. These officers inject us with drugs. With drugs. The hospitals inject us with drugs at their request. Rodriguez, that's Michelle Dominica Rodriguez versus Waylon Lolatai, but she's homeless, no one gives a shit. Darren O'Connor, who stabbed us in the back. Yeah. Let's look some of the other medications up. What other medications they inject me with? Well, side effects of ketamine. Sorry. Side effects of ketamine injection. All right, let's see. Oh, ketamine side effects in humans. All right, now, there we go. God, now it's taking us around in circles. Won't even tell me the side effects of ketamine. Let's see. Side effects of ketamine. Come on. Let's see. At relatively low doses, you get disorientation, confusion, or loss of motor coordination. Dizziness, nausea, or vomiting, increased blood pressure, heart rate, breathing, or body temperature, changes in sensory perceptions, including visual or auditory hallucinations, feeling detached from yourself, your surroundings, your environment. Let's see. Long-term effects and dangers of amphetamine. It's got rehab places all over the place that it talks about this. Now here's the thing. Inducing hallucinations in a human being and then calling them schizophrenic is immoral as fuck. Doing anything legal with them while they're in that state is illegal as fuck. How long does it take to diagnose schizophrenia? All right, let's see. Now, I had a doctor after I called him on his bullshit, I decided to quiz him on schizophrenia, and he was wrong. Then he tried to quiz me on it, and he was wrong again. It was cute. All right, it says to receive a diagnosis of schizophrenia, a person must have experienced at least 2 of the following symptoms most of the time during a 1-month period, with some level of disturbance being present for 6 months. Delusions, such as belief that a person is being poisoned. Oh, come on. We need all of them. According to the DSM-5, a schizophrenia diagnosis requires the following: at least 2 of the 5 main symptoms. You've had Symptoms for at least 1 month. Your symptoms impact your... That's not it. That's romantic fucking bullshit. What the hell's that? Why are they sending me to romance stuff? Why doesn't it complete the whole thing? That sucks. Schizophrenia diagnosis criteria.
According to Medscape reference, according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, DSM-5, to meet the criteria for diagnosis of schizophrenia, the patient must have experienced at least 2 of the following symptoms: delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech.
There's more than that, but yeah. The thing is, I don't have hallucinations at all. I do have disorganized speech, but that's just because it's an overwhelming situation and it's difficult because it's a serious condition with a lot of people involved in it. It's difficult to remember every single name, and it's difficult to try to prioritize what I'm even allowed to say and try to get it done in a 30-minute session. I have no hallucinations. And police officers attempted... Oh, here it is. But the thing is that it has to go on for 6 months or more. 6 months. Oh, come on. I'm trying to get it to that part. So we'll do that again. How long does it take to diagnose schizophrenia?
According to NYU Langone Health, to receive a diagnosis of schizophrenia, a person must have experienced at least 2 of the following symptoms most of the time during a 1-month period, with some level of disturbance being present for 6 months. Delusions, such as a belief that a person is being poisoned.
Now, the situation with me being legally poisoned, well, I got the hospital paperwork and the conversation with the doctor to prove it. Yes, in fact, and indeed, when I went to Hood River, there's a video, it's called Felon Doctor of Hood River. I went to him and I explained to him what was going on. About how one of the people there had put drugs in me. Well, given me a soda pop and there was drugs in it. Johns Hopkins University. How many schizophrenia patients were misdiagnosed?
According to Johns Hopkins Medicine, in a small study of patients referred to the Johns Hopkins Early Psychosis Intervention Clinic, EPIC, Johns Hopkins Medicine researchers report that about half the people referred to the clinic with a schizophrenia diagnosis didn't actually have schizophrenia.
Now, given that it takes 6 months to diagnose schizophrenia, how is it possible that a hospital that had me injected with drugs was able to diagnose me while I was fucked up on drugs in less than 6 months? Now, why is it that Marcia Estrada? We're going to make sure that we listen to her. Marcia Estrada. We'll go to videos. Oh, here's one. That's Marcia Estrada. And we're going to listen to a conversation with her. Well, if this one will play. Oh, come on. All right, we'll try this again. I have to opening it up. Let's see, it's 458 megabytes free memory. All right, now I can do it. Marcia Estrada. Marcia Estrada.
The First State Bank Community Champion for the month of September has spent the last 40 years helping others through counseling. FSB President Mike Downey made a surprise stop.
You're going to be able to match her phone or her voice too from this video.
Marcia Estrada.
For all your service here for so many years. So
She's older now, though.
You're very deserving, and we want to give you this plaque.
Oh, thank you.
And also, we have a little item for your desk.
Oh, okay.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Estrada started her career working at a halfway house back in 1970.
Are we going to listen to her now? YouTube. Alright, I'm starting to get this working. A lot of people, when I told them I couldn't talk because I was in public, they wanted me to try using talk to text. I'm like, are you not using your head? I can't talk because I'm in public, you know? But they didn't want to get that or understand that. They make suggestions that show they're not using common sense. All right, there's my paperwork that says what I'm diagnosed with, and this is the conversation with Marcia Estrada. She knows Cindy and Jen and Tamara, and she knows DaCosta by reputation. Alright, so I suppose I should also show you the stuff with Haldol and how important it is not to mix it with Ativan. How important it is not to inject people with Haldol. When you mix Ativan and Haldol in 8% of the patients, it makes them permanently schizophrenic. In 30% of the patients, it makes them exhibit schizophrenia or schizophrenia-like symptoms for up to 2 years. In 70% of the people who are injected with Ativan and Haldol, it makes them exhibit schizophrenia-like symptoms for up to 2 days. Injecting it is the scariest way to do it too, because it's instantaneous. Now, they like to put in a Benadryl kicker. In a lot of places in the United States, they're actually trying to make Haldol illegal because of its neurotoxicity, which means that it does damage to the brain. It does permanent damage to the brain. So when you try to tell on a police officer, and literally the officer that you're trying to turn in takes you to the hospital and has you injected with Ativan and Haldol for trying to turn him in, you could end up a vegetable for the rest of your life, or you could end up dead like Elijah McClain. Let's find out who Elijah McClain is. Elijah McClain. I've decided to make the Marcia Estrada thing a link in the bottom here. First responders plead not guilty in connection with death of Elijah McClain. Elijah McClain was an autistic man in Colorado, and he was injected with ketamine and likely Haldol and Ativan. This is not okay. It says 2 Aurora police officers charged in death of Elijah McClain and appear in court today. Let's take a look at this. This is Colorado. You see that? I know it's not pretty to look at, is it? That man's dead. He's dead because of something that they did to me too. At Johnstown, Colorado. At Clearview Behavioral Health. Let's take a look at Clearview Behavioral Health. Now, mind you, I don't know these 2 officers, but they're in Aurora. Where was Natalie Bollinger where was Natalie Bollinger shot? And where was I when she was shot? I was in Aurora, Colorado, trying to work with officers there, like Erica and, of course, Detective, Jesus, what was his name? All right, let's take a look at 2 Boulder officers who I was trying to turn in. Demetrius Shankling. Video shows a man unresponsive after a ride to detox center. It was worse than that. Now, these officers bullied me when I was being transferred. I was prevented from being able to go to my court date in Aurora because they held me in Boulder. And then they took me to, or not in Aurora, in Arapahoe County. Then, after that, they took me to Arapahoe County. I was literally in transit, so they pretend like I was magically not in custody and could have made the court date because while court was going on, I was in transit. And these officers are the ones who drove me there and bullied me. Of course. Why wouldn't they? You cannot tell on police officers if you are a homeless person. Demetrius Shankling had family that cared. Elijah McClain had family that cared. Zaid Atkinson had family that cared. Sammy Leon Lawrence IV had family that cared. Because I did not have family that cared. When I was assaulted by police, Officer Waylon Lolatai, at the hospital, they took me to jail. Injecting someone with drugs because they're trying to turn in their predators is not okay. When people bully someone to the point that they want their life to end, that does not make it okay to automatically fucking drug them. It does not make it okay to lie to them and make false accusations. It does not make it okay for my public pretenders to refuse to get the body camera evidence. We could have prevented the death of Demetrius Shankling by arresting those officers. We could have prevented the assaults against Zaid Atkinson by doing something about Waylon Lolatai. We could have done something. We could have done something about the situation with Sammy Leon Lawrence IV and Michelle Clark and Michelle Rodriguez. We could have stopped all of these things. We could have prevented all of these things by listening to me when the things happened to me. But you didn't want to listen to a homeless man, did you? And it has cost the city of Boulder literally millions of dollars at this point. Waylon Lolatai, after assaulting me, got away with assaulting no less than 6 other people on camera. There's a reason I speak up, and there's a reason I fight hard for these rights. I find missing people. That's what I do. I protect people. That is what I do. I do things that parents can't do. Raise your hand if you've ever been to prison for turning in a child molester. My hand's up. Raise your hand if you've ever been to prison for turning in bad cops. My hand's up. Raise your hand if you've ever been to prison without being convicted. My hand is up. In Nebraska, they just transfer you out of jurisdiction. Dual County, Nebraska has a jail, but they don't have any money to staff it, or so they say. So Dual County, Nebraska spent over $300,000 gaslighting me with your taxpayer dollars, including $100,000 of it to have me put in jail and or prison on false charges for 7 months. And then they dropped the charges and let me free. Those charges were for trying to turn in my predators. And as long as they had me locked up and the police didn't put in their paperwork that I was trying to turn in police when they arrested me, or that I had evidence of felonies committed by them against at-risk individuals, including Joe Newman's daughter. Evidence that police officers repeatedly, when I tried to turn them in, wanted to take me to hospitals and tell the hospitals that I was schizophrenic or delusional. Meanwhile, Marcia Estrada, my mental health worker, says absolutely not, I'm not schizophrenic. You guys want to play like I'm stupid? Now let me show you these two officers, because one of them I don't recognize. The other one just looks a little bit different. The one on the right here, I know him. The one on the left, I know he's a dick, but not in that particular situation. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Respiratory, what do they call that? Respiratory, basically you can't breathe. Now, how did Dmitry Shankling die? Asphyxiation, the position they put his body in, and they made fun of him while they did it. I wasn't on drugs. Dmitry Shankling was. People say poor him, and they say screw you to me. Alright, how about Sydney Housing Authority? We're talking about Nebraska, not Australia. Protests of Sydney, Nebraska housing. Alright. Oh yeah, I'm looking this up on YouTube, and that's in the news. Sydney, Nebraska housing protest. Sorry about that. I'm having issues with it. I'm still trying to... Oh, come on. I'm just going to have to write it down. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So this is Western Heritage. This is Sydney, Nebraska. This is run by Cindy Taylor, and yeah, they had protests, and nobody listened to them. The lady's name was Cindy Taylor. Let me see if I can write that in there. Maybe it'll take me to it. She was called Outstanding Staff for 2012. Yep. And then, of course, later on, she didn't get along so well, did she? Let's see. Omaha World Herald, Sydney housing protest. They spell it S-Y all the time, and it always takes me to the wrong place. God, I am buried in protests. Cops playing head games and lying to at-risk adults because they don't want to do their jobs is common practice. What killed Elijah McClain? McClain was forcibly arrested by 3 police officers in August 2019 and put in a corroded chokehold. Officers called the paramedics, who gave him a large dose of ketamine before checking his physical condition. McClain, who was unarmed and not suspected of committing any crime, died a few days later at a hospital. Why was Elijah McClain injected? August 30th, 2019. It was a 23-year-old black massage therapist from Aurora, Colorado, who died 6 days after a violent police encounter during which he was injected with ketamine by paramedics to sedate him. He didn't do anything wrong and they murdered him. Who is Tibor Hittay? Oh, come on. All right. We'll go to Clearview Behavioral Health. This is where I was sent because I was trying to turn in bad cops, like Waylon Lolatai. Another one of those places where they wanted to antagonize me, intimidate me. Had the evidence right there, locked in a closet, so close, and my telephone too. And still, they wouldn't allow me access to it, to fill out the paperwork that I needed to turn in these offers. Instead, they antagonized the shit out of me. Why is my internet not working? There we go. Clearview Behavioral Health Services. Oh, they made one in Redland, California, and it's closed. There we go. Clearview Behavioral Health, Johnstown, Colorado. Let's take a look at this. After Clearview Behavioral Health shut down, their successors are in trouble now. I need to be able to have access to a computer and a space to use it and not be in a fucking hurry, because then I can't function. And you get to see this. They actually killed a man there named Tillamook. You see this? Very real. These aren't figments of my imagination. These people aren't figments of my imagination. The people in the kitchen were super nice. I will give them that. Alright, so we got a lot of 2 stars and less, and we've got a lot of ass kissers. But for the most part, they got a shitty fucking rating. Who did Clearview Behavioral Health with injections? No info about patient's death at mental health facility. There's a powerful accusation coming out of the Larimer County Coroner's Office. Dr. James Wilkerson believes Clearview Behavioral Health. You see this? Medicare and Medicaid in process of removing certification. I told you they were committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud. Same as the agencies here in Tillamook, Oregon. Let's see. State-regulated, nearly 100-bed health facility in Johnstown attempted to cover up the death of a patient there. For the past 4 months, Contact 7 Investigates has exposed serious problems in Clearview Behavioral Health. State and federal agencies have responded by launching their own investigations. Oh yeah, and ignoring me. Says the death of the patient appears to have been preventable, and the episode is deeply disturbing. It happened nearly 2 years ago. Today, Clearview is under investigation for insurance fraud, short staffing, and holding patients against their will. Like I told you. Tillamook, a father and friend that's adding to the mounting trouble for the facility and has led the state to expand its investigation. What did they kill him with? What did they kill him with? That's right, Ativan, Haldol, and ketamine. I've got videos with these people smiling at me. Now I wonder if it'll talk about Dr. Jason West. They repeatedly gave inaccurate information.
Powerful accusations by the Larimer County coroner. Tonight, Contact 7 Investigates unravels an alleged cover-up inside a Colorado mental health facility.
Something that needs to be done and something needs to be changed about Clearview.
Our 4-month investigation has exposed serious problems.
I was there
inside
after they killed
Clearview
this man and
Behavioral Health
before they
in
were shut
Johnstown.
down.
Following our report, state and federal agencies started investigating.
I exposed this place. Me.
Tonight, Chief Investigator Tony Kovalevsky's back with
Over a year before this.
discovery.
And Tony, your sources say this was a preventable death.
Preventable, Ann and Shannon, and deeply disturbing. With state and federal investigations building, insiders and the coroner now saying this father of 2 did not deserve to die. It's a commodity we all value. An intangible asset we sometimes take for granted.
So my pledge is to take better and better care of myself.
47-year-old Tillamook thought he had plenty of time in his future. Plenty of time to share with his 2 kids and his family. He recorded this video on July 11th, 2 years ago. He died 4 days later.
I found him not breathing.
She was working inside the mental health hospital.
I'm trying to find the video for this.
Called the medical emergency on the radio. I was the one that called 911.
Like several
Where's the
former
video?
Clearview employees, she has
I'm going to turn that back because I want to see her.
asked
Come on.
us to disguise her identity because she fears retaliation, even blacklisting. You watch this man die. Do you wonder if
Oh, it
it
doesn't
could
show her
have been
face.
prevented?
Every day.
I cried a lot. I was super upset. And I wasn't there during it, but I still knew it was wrong.
She's a former administrator, also concerned about retaliation. She was called in minutes after the death.
Yeah, and y'all wonder why I'm afraid of
The
retaliation.
anger and frustration of the two former insiders centers on a decision by Clearview to give the 47-year-old a powerful tranquilizer, a cocktail of medications. Who do you blame for this man's death?
The person giving the shot, the person making the orders.
Clearview?
Yes.
Public records reviewed by Denver 7 did not disclose the names of the Clearview employees responsible for administering that tranquilizer. Two insiders have said to us that this man, this father...
All right, so he's doing this thing on Tony Kovaleski, and he also did one. Tony Kovaleski also did one on Officer Waylon Lolatai. News 7 investigates Waylon Lolatai. Oh, that didn't work. Let's see, we've got the Boulder Beat. We've got the Daily Camera, KDVR, Denver Westward. We'll try Denver 31 here. Oh, come on, we don't need a fucking commercial.
Where when someone's bike is in the shop, we could...
Here we go.
Let's show you the December 2014 video that placed Waylon Lolatai under investigation with the Denver Sheriff's Department. There's no audio, but it appears an inmate said something Lolatai did not like, and in moments, he's pushing the inmate backwards against a set of stairs. Multiple deputies rush in to assist. For a year and a half, Internal Affairs made no public decision on Lolatai's conduct. Instead, he was allowed to quit in June of 2016.
Same thing with Officer Burke. This is Michelle Rodriguez.
This is body cam footage of Waylon Lolatai and other Boulder police questioning homeless people. It's not clear why, but Michelle Rodriguez clearly feels she's being harassed and says she wants to use her phone to call a police supervisor.
Stop reaching for stuff!
I did that and I was arrested.
I'm gonna call the 911, is that all right?
No, we were here already.
Things quickly go downhill.
Why can't I call the cops? Why can't I call the cops?
Relax, Michelle.
I need to call the cops. Why are you guys harassing me?
Instead of de-escalating the situation, Lolatai and other officers arrest Rodriguez for resisting arrest and obstruction.
You're abusing your powers. You can't even work in the night.
Soon, cops would take her away.
They got zero reason to be doing this. Get off of me!
Rodriguez swears at the police multiple times and is hardly calm, but 4 weeks ago, a very different demeanor by a 26-year-old man
Sammy
named
Leon
Sammy
Lawrence IV.
I'm here right now with these
I was calm when I
citizens
spoke to those officers to
that
the
right now
best of
have
my
their
ability.
belongings over here.
They antagonized the
This
shit out of
officer
it.
who I'm keeping down below so
That's
I can
Waylon
respect his
Lolatai as
privacy.
well.
That officer is Wayne Lolatai, and Sammy says he's filming because he thinks cops are harassing homeless people for no good reason. Soon Lolatai turns his attention to Sammy.
And it's very weird that this officer, who is asking me to put my walking aid down, which is pretty interesting, by the way. You see this dragon staff. You see the little thing on the very bottom, that rubber thing. That's called a walking aid.
Sammy Lawrence suffers
The
from
dude is a
seizures
dick, I'll give
and
him
uses
that.
the walking stick as an aid. But Officer Lolatai suggests it might be a weapon. Again, instead of de-escalating the situation,
They claimed I tried to bite
Lolatai
them.
moves to arrest.
Waylon Lolatai
This is my phone.
claimed that I tried to bite him. Claimed that I tried to assault him. They outright lied in my paperwork, and because I didn't have a friend or family to help, and because I was forced into homelessness and forced into being targeted by every officer after this, because I was assaulted by Waylon Lolatai and charged with assault. Sammy Leon Lawrence IV got easy.
My walking aid. Sir, you are harassing me. You are harassing me. You are harassing me. Get off.
They will threaten to arrest you for any goddamn thing when you try to turn them in. They will bully you, they will harass you, they will send you elsewhere. see. We're looking for... Oh, there's a bunch of them here. A whole bunch of them here. A whole bunch of them here. On my channel, see, this is Waylon Lolatai too. He played football, but... Let's see. That ain't it. Is this from KDVR2? Yeah. This is a different set of things. His hate mongering and his social media posts. And my friends didn't care. Over and over and over. Oh, come on. Why isn't it doing it? Ah, screw it. I was sent to Clearview Behavioral Health because I was trying to turn in Waylon Lolatai. Then I was assaulted and injected with drugs in Clearview Behavioral Health for trying to turn in Waylon Lolatai. If I go to all, it scrolls down quite a bit. You can see he's had to pay out quite a bit. Over and over. There's Kelly Clark, I told you. Darren O'Connor, the backstabber. He didn't just stab me in the back. He also tried to get Michelle Rodriguez not to help me. Tortured in Boulder County Jail. Well, duh. Let's see what this one says. See, I'm not the only one. Let's see. I should probably take the screenshot of the thing from James Hammond when he decided to run for sheriff against Scott DaCosta. One of his running slogans or whatever is that, well, like Denver did with Waylon Lolatai, allowing him to move on, and the police station that Officer Burke worked for, Adams County, they allowed him to move on so that he worked at Longmont. When he worked at Longmont, he got to assist in having me sent to another hospital. And again, they tried to have me injected with drugs and called schizophrenic. They play stupid the moment they hear cop. When you try to turn in a cop, they will physically torture you and say, stop resisting. What did they arrest you for? Resisting arrest. Is that fine? Sure. They tell the hospital that you're mentally ill and schizophrenic and delusional. The hospital writes it down. Takes them 6 months to diagnose. But hell, a police officer you're trying to turn it into, a police officer who you are trying to turn in, can diagnose you in a moment. He says so and it makes it true. Scott DaCosta tried that. Waylon Lolatai tried that. Multiple officers tried that. Some officers even got yelled at by for trying to pull that. But Boulder, Colorado, they used the hospitals as a rubber stamp. God damn y'all, a bunch of stupid pieces of shit. First of all, it's not okay for a police officer to diagnose somebody as schizophrenic. Second of all, it is not okay for Tara Johnson Miles to diagnose me as schizophrenic. It is not okay for Officer Jonas or Officer Burke to diagnose me as schizophrenic. Sheriff Scott DaCosta also cannot diagnose me as schizophrenic or delusional. What the fuck are they doing? Injecting me with drugs that mimic schizophrenia because I told on a bad cop, because I'm asking for them to fulfill their obligations? And why is it that not a single public pretender made any attempt to get the body camera footage in any of those situations, allowing me to be abused by lies and inferences that could only be cleared up by being allowed an honest day in court? Colorado can go to hell just like Tillamook, Oregon.